last final topic of the day, then we'll get out of here. We'll talk about the Patriots. If you're the New England Patriots, it was a disappointing season for Bill Belichick and the crew, but I do expect the Patriots to be a better football team next year just because they had so many players opt out due to COVID. It was a weird offseason for Cam Newton and the crew. Obviously, no Tom Brady. You're going to obviously, feel the effects of a Hall of Fame legendary quarterback, who knew the system inside and out, not being there. He's able to work with not great weapons at times. Probably not at 43 years old because that's why he went to Tampa. But, Caleb, I got to ask you, what should the Patriots do at quarterback? Should they stick with Cam Newton for another year? Or would you maybe draft someone? Personally, I think the Patriots actually should keep Cam Newton for another year just because it was a weird offseason with no OTAs, complex playbook that Cam Newton had to learn on the fly. He had a bottom 5 wide receiver core. And look, it's all good and dandy if you draft Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, but you got to ask the question, are those guys able to produce at a high level with the current supporting cast that you have? And you can say, we can bring in Matthew Stafford or Deshaun Watson. They have to do the same thing that Cam Newton did. Learn that complex system, adjust on the fly and make a bottom 5 wide receiver core look better than it is. And look, I think the Patriots actually need those assets that they would, need to, use to acquire a guy like Deshaun or Matthew Stafford or even to trade up for a quarterback to actually improve their roster. So until the Patriots are in a situation where they have a competent enough supporting cast to really support their quarterback, I don't think you should move on from Cam Newton. I do think Cam Newton still has a couple of solid years left in him. He obviously had a disappointing season. People could say he threw 8 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, but they forget he ran for 12 rushing touchdowns. You do realize that rushing touchdowns count for touchdowns as well. You get in the end zone, passing or throwing, I really don't care. So, personally, I'm not saying Cam Newton is great, but it's just one of those situations where I don't know if another guy is going to do all that much better than Cam Newton. Sure, if you get a guy like Watson or Stafford, they'll be better than Newton just because they're more dynamic at this point in their career than what Cam Newton was. But I don't know. I would seriously consider bringing back Cam Newton and trying to improve this wide receiver and tight end core that is not very explosive at all. What do you think?
No, I agree. Cam Newton was thrown into a bad situation in New England. He was signed late into the process. He did not have a lot of time to digest the playbook, and the weapons that he had were not that great. And if you're the Patriots trying to trade for a Stafford and Watson, first of all, I wouldn't want to go there if I'm Stafford or Watson when you could go to better teams. And also, that's kind of like the two opposites. So we talked about the Jets and the Dolphins, how they have capital to trade for Watson, but also can continue building around Watson. Patriots, any of their capital they do have, they'd have to give up to trade for Watson, and then they're stuck with he pretty much be in the same situation he's in right now in Houston, where he doesn't have a good supporting cast around him. So the Patriots should not be in the market. I mean, they're going to be in the market if they can get a quality quarterback and not have to give up as much, but that's just not going to happen. So I could see them keeping Cam Newton, let him play there for another year, maybe draft a quarterback second round, maybe Mac Jones. I'm not high on Mac Jones, personally. I think he's a product of a very talented and great Alabama system.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you on Mac Jones. I'm not saying he's a bad prospect, but
no.
I just don't know if I'm willing to go all in and say, yeah, that guy's my franchise quarterback, because I think that wherever he goes, he's going to be a pride to the situation around him, which is nothing wrong with that, because honestly, the point I'm trying to make is Mac Jones is one of those guys that's going to need a good offensive line because he's not all that mobile. He's going to need a good coaching staff around him because he's not one of those guys that can ad-lib off schedule. He's going to be as good as the situation he's put into. And while I believe he'll get great coaching in New England, I don't know if the players around him are going to be able to elevate him. That's what I'm saying.
No, and the Patriots might look at a Mac Jones like he's almost like a statue. He's not that mobile. It's like, didn't we just win for the last 20 years with a quarterback like that? And they might be intrigued by that option. But I think you don't take a quarterback first round. You take a weapon. You take some offensive help in the first round. The offensive line, I doubt Pitts falls that far, but if he is there, take him, or a wide receiver, and then take a quarterback like second or third round, like Jamie Newman or someone like that, and you maybe try to develop a second round guy, or see if Jimmy Garoppolo is available. He's already got the New England connection. San Francisco they're linked to just about every quarterback on the market right now. So they're in the market. Maybe bring back Jimmy G. That was a guy that Bill Belichick liked anyway and wanted to keep until Robert Kraft stepped in and said, we're not getting rid of Tommy. You can get rid of Jimmy. We're keeping Tommy. So maybe that's an option for them as well. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is not an option, you keep Cam Newton. See if Jared Stidham develops anymore, because for some reason they're high on him. I haven't seen enough from Stidham, but I don't know. I'm not there at practice. So maybe let him compete with Cam again. Keep it an open competition again this year and bring in another young guy. But the Patriots, they need help on offense. And that's Bill Belichick is arguably the best head coach of all time. He is terrible at drafting. Skill position-wise, he's drafted Rob Gronkowski, and that's like the only all-pro or Pro Bowl offensive playmaker he's drafted. He's gotten like Julian Edelman on the cheap. He got Wes Welker a long time ago.
He's good at getting the most out of his players, but at times he maybe doesn't see the all-pro level players like the DK Metcalfs of the world. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, all right, we're fine with what we have. And then...
No, sometimes you need to out-talent the other team. That's what you need to do. Especially when you don't have Tom Brady anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Always about out-coaching. You got to have talent, too. And especially in the AFC East, where the AFC East, the first time in a long time, is going to be competitive. You have the Bills, who just went to the AFC Championship game. The Dolphins, who just won 10 games. The Jets appear to be trending upwards, yet they're probably going to take a year or two before they're in serious contention. And the Patriots, I mean, with Bill Belichick at the helm, I still expect them to win half their games at least, just because of good coaching, but they don't have the talent to make the playoffs. And when you're Bill Belichick, and that's what you're used to, you got to figure out a way to make the playoffs. And I think I would not be surprised if they win like 6-7 games next year and Bill decides, I'm done, and hands it over to Josh McDaniels there, which I'd be fine with because I'm not a big fan of Josh McDaniels. I don't think he'll be that good as head coach in his second time. But the Patriots need a lot of offensive help. And I'm not sure if trading for a quarterback, unless it's Jimmy G, because you could probably get him cheaper, or drafting a quarterback is the right way to go. You have to, because you have so many other holes where the quarterback isn't going to fix every issue.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see what Bill Belichick can do. I do believe the Patriots will make a smart decision. I do believe they will be improved next year because actually their defense is not all that bad. It's still a decent unit. So if you just add maybe another wide receiver or two and just get a little more explosive, I can see them winning 9 to 10 games just off of coaching and good defense alone. And if they get a couple more explosive weapons and just score a couple more points, and Cam Newton actually knows the system better and is more comfortable in that offense in his second year, I could see the Patriots maybe being a playoff team this upcoming year. But we'll see. Definitely a lot of questions in New England.
Adam Schefter, I think, said that there could be potentially 18 quarterback changes, and he'd take the over. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm excited for it because as a Jets fan, that's all I ever have to look forward to is the offseason.
Gotcha. Well, Caleb, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining the show, talking some New York Jets football. You're a Jets fan, obviously. We talked about the AFC East, you know. You're obviously, like I said, a Jets fan. You go to my college, the University of Toledo. We at times do sports radio together, once a week if you can ever get back to doing that. You're busy these days, you know.
Dude, I'd love to.
Yeah, I know.
Just been so busy, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll put your social media accounts in the description if anyone wants to follow you on social media and whatnot. Thank you for joining the show, man.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
No doubt. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.